So we're gonna start inside for us. It's gonna be our hog, stack, squawk, everything else. All right, we're gonna make sure that we have our same documents that we need for every other flight. So now lights come back off. Now I just need to make sure, you know, go over here and I'm gonna check my engine hours and my tack hours. Yeah, as you can see, it's more of a split laminar flap, right? It's coming out of the wing and dropping down. So instead of this whole section dropping down, like everybody's used to, this is kind of where, you know, we have to be a little bit careful. On LSAs especially, one of the things that I've noticed is you're not gonna use full flaps. Full flaps gets you real slow, real slow. Stall speed on this is 34 knots. So unless you want to go 34 knots, you're never using full flaps. Another thing we could do is we have vortex generators, these little white clear plastic things. Everybody thinks they're for airflow, but what they do is they actually just make it a little bit quieter, right? So I mean, even Boeing, you know, Airbus, all that, they use vortex generators on their planes, especially on the nose cone, to really help kind of quiet that wind down, right? So what this does is it smooths out the air as it goes over the wing, slowing that, kind of funneling that air, making it smoother, right? We know smooth air equals quiet air. So we have a safety parachute. So we want to come in, we want to make sure we're not missing any of our rivets around our parachute system. We want to make sure that it's not dented, dinged, anything like that. And we do want to make sure that it's clear, right? So that, you know, we haven't put a piece of speed tape or something on it. So in the event that we do have to use this, we know it's going to be free and just able to do its job. So one of the big things about the tail section that a lot of people on pre-flight are going to notice is we don't have a light. We don't have a beacon on the tail, right? And so for, you know, if you read those regs, it's just a rear-facing light is what we need. So our lights on our wings actually are rear-facing, right? They stick out far enough, just like Cirrus has. Okay. They stick out far enough and they shine backwards as well. So no tail light, but we do have wingtip rear lights. This right here is going to be basically a tail strike plate. So our hook is up here underneath it, but the tail strike plate, right, because it's so light, because of how you fly, this is designed to hit first to protect the actual tail of the airplane. So this is, you know, full deflected and we still have plenty of clearance from the ground. Real big trim tab. That's another thing that's really nice about this plane is it's electric trim. Left, right, up, down, it's all electric. And we'll actually go over that in the plane. I'll show you how we can control that on our yoke. Cool. I guess I should start saying stick now because we don't have a yoke. Exactly. So just like a normal Cessna, just like a 152, 172, Piper, Archer, Diamond 20, whatever you fly, it's always important to check your oil. We are lucky to have a liquid cooled engine as well as an engine cooled engine, or an air cooled engine. So that's kind of added something into your engine checklist is, you know, okay, is my coolant good? I have enough coolant. Right next to that is our brake reservoir, so brake reservoir is good. And then checking oil. So checking oil in this LSA, right, the Evektor Harmonies is a little different. So you're gonna take the main cap off, you're gonna come to the nose of the plane, you're gonna spin it 8 to 10 times. And what we're doing is we're basically moving the engine around, getting it lubricated. And then we will hear a gurgle out of that oil. That gurgle lets us know that the oil has settled, and so that's when we can now pull out our dipstick. Check, engine oil's good, we're happy. It's not black, looks like engine oil, smells like engine oil. Cap goes back on, happy there. Starter switch is gonna go on. Lane A and lane B, which are basically our mags. Fuel pump's gonna come on. I'm letting that fuel pressurize, fuel pressurize, fuel pressurize. Fuel is good. Clear left, clear front, clear right one more time. Clear prop! PFD, which is our main Garmin G3X, and then we've got a G5 backup on this side. As a flight instructor sitting in your seat on that right seat, I love this because it's all of this information just right in front of me. So instead of me having to look over, it's now right in front of me. It makes it super easy.
Well, that screen is huge. You can't miss it from here.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, you can't miss it. So I'm going to throw our flight plan in real quick. All I'm going to do is just have us, so we have that situational awareness.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to let this engine keep going. It's doing all right for now. One of the cool things about this is as we need to transition people in and out, we can go ahead and take this, you know, we have the ticker tapes, but we can turn around and we can say, okay, what I want is, I want round gauges. So now they're round gauges, which a lot of our people are more used to, right? A lot of our people transitioning out of a Cessna or a 172 are more used to this. And so we'll use these as, you know, kind of the initial flight, and then as we come back into it, we'll move them into the ticker tapes, which is, again, that more glass cockpit style. So,
yeah,
all right.
It's a great feature.
It's an awesome feature. We are blessed to have synthetic vision, so we can turn that on as well. We'll throw that up, and we'll just come down here so you can kind of see what that's like. That'll start its ways. I do want traffic on. Flight path marker I don't need on. But, so now you can see, you know, all those towers that are right in front of us. Obviously we can't see them now, but they're there. And then once we start to go, take off and everything. So, all right, continuing, no one's in the alleyway. We're good to go. We're going to move. Brake test is good. I've been holding brakes the whole time. We haven't moved. So we'll go out here. The run-up on these is actually very simple, and that's, I think, another thing that a lot of people have to kind of get used to, right? We're used to running up and then turning off one mag, turning them both, and then back to another mag. And honestly, with this, in this Rotax engine, we're very, very blessed to have a quick run-up. So again, brakes are held, landing lights are off, flight controls, we're going to go free and correct. So basically, stick comes back, stick goes right, stick goes left. I'm just going to make a circle. Nice, everything is nice and clear. Fuel shut-off valve, we are still on the fullest. We're going to go on up. We're going to go to 4,000 RPM. RPM gauge is going to go on this side. I'll bring this up so you can kind of see a little bit more.
Cool.
So there's our 4,000 RPM. Now we're just making sure our lane A and lane B, which are our mags, are on. We're not getting a visual light on lane A. We're not getting a visual light on lane B. Our EMS is still working. No visual lights up front. Fuel pump A, fuel pump B is good. Oil pressure is good. Oil temp good. Everything else is in the green, right where it should be. So now I'm going to go power idle. Power idle, plane continues to run. It doesn't shut off. Then we're going to go back to our 2,500 RPM, which is our idle speed. Known safe engine idle speed, 2,500. Everything checks out. We are good to go. Run up complete. On taxi, we're going to turn on the landing lights, but let's go ahead and grab some ATIS so we know what we're working with. So for us, we have two comms. This will handle comm 1, or we can handle the comm this way. So we can click on here. It's all touchscreen, like I said. If we don't like that, we're fine. We're good to go. If I want comm 2, it's the same thing. For that, comm 2 is going to be the same thing. I can type in whatever frequency I need and call that. To listen, we can switch over.
1-2 right, advise on initial contact to information, Mike.
So we've got Mike. Make sure we're close to 16.
Shutdown tower information, Mike, 1553 Zulu weather. Wind 210 at 6, visibility 10, skies clear below 12,000. Temperature 28, dew point 17, altimeter 3000. Visual approach in use, landing and departing, runway 12 right. Advise on initial contact to information, Mike.
Nice, we've got Mike. So now for this altimeter, again, it's a touchscreen. So it's 3000 today. Enter that, it adjusts there. I also check over here, make sure that it's the same as adjusted, and we are good to go. Questions on that?
That's super easy.
Yeah, it's super easy, right? This touchscreen makes everything very, very nice. So you see this right there? That's that plane right there that's coming into land.
Oh, wow, look at that.
Yeah, so we do get traffic updates on screen with synthetic vision, which is really, really nice. As well as I can go here, and I have the smaller traffic map in the corner. So I usually...
Your taxi maps and everything too, right?
Yeah, taxi maps will be here. So I've got the whole chart and diagram. I can move over to, you know, here's my, you know, St. Louis Bravo sectional. Right, and everything like that. If I'm flying by waypoint, I can put in certain waypoints. My whole flight plan will be right here. So I've got the whole flight plan ready to go. I've got weather, so we can zoom in, see, okay, what weather is in my immediate area, my immediate vicinity. I can click on like their Spirit, and I will get the METAR. So you can do things like that. You can go to terrain, so now it shows you any terrain that you might have. Here's your traffic. I have a bigger traffic map now. Any info, so this is going to be all my GPS information. You know, do I have WAS in my own RAM, what things like that. And then you're going to come to engine instruments, and it's going to break down everything a little bit more for you. So like when we're here, I have all my engine instruments here, but if I want them expanded, I've now got them right there. So
does that record data as well?
It does. It does record. Yep, it does record. We keep a 30-day record. The plane does, and which is, you know, helpful for our maintenance department, because now when we say, hey, I had this problem, now they can take this and they can say, plug in, look at the computer, and they can say, oh, I know exactly, right? So for them to be able to recreate that problem,
yep,
it is amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
It's already in the data.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent.
So let's go up to our ground and let's get out of here.
Yes, sir.
Starting to sweat.
Harmony 468 Juliet Alpha downtown ground, runway 12 right, taxi via Bravo, cross runway 23.
12 right via Bravo, crossing 23, 468 Juliet Alpha. We've got trim down, trim up, trim left, trim right. So I can set that as needed, right? So our trim indicators are right here. Trim indicators are right here on the side. And again, as I adjust that, right, so as I move this up, now my trim moves up and it shows me where my elevator is at. So I'll put that neutral for takeoff. That's what we want. Let's say I know we've got some pretty gnarly winds. I can trim left and right there with those ailerons as well, and you can watch that.
5 Juliet Alpha, hold your position there on the runway for the Coyote crossing.
Yeah,
Got him in
there he is.
5 Juliet Alpha.
Oh, Lord.
November 468 Juliet Alpha, downtown tower, runway 12 right, cleared for takeoff, wind 190 at 7.
12 right, clear for takeoff, 8 Juliet Alpha. Good job, sir. You got a little busy this morning. All right, here we go. Center line, we're going to punch this.
440 Victor Alpha, runway 12 right,
You can see right here on our synthetic vision, we've got the whole runway right there. There's that airspeed alive. Yoke is coming back.
Shutdown tower, helicopter Air 1 is
We're airborne, we're maintaining that ground effect. Flaps are coming down.
Who's asking for a frequency change?
As that happens, we're just going to climb out of that 65.
Okay, thank you.
We're airborne.
November 64 Victor Alpha, are you still looking for the option? Full stop for Victor Alpha. 64 Victor Alpha, number 2 behind your company, tuck them ahead, turning final, runway 12 right, clear to land. Number 2, 12 right, clear to land, 64 Victor Alpha.
See that dot right there? As it comes across.
Downtown tower.
That's another plane.
151 Delta Lima
So,
over Columbia with Mike.
I know he's
inbound
out there somewhere, even though I may not be able to see him.
151 Delta Lima, downtown tower,
I know he's out there.
runway 12 right.
That's kind of
Right
like a little
base,
head up
12 right, 151
Yeah, it's
Delta
really
Lima.
nice. It's
Very
really nice.
cool.
You know, so imagine, you know, you're in IFR conditions, you know, actual
left of runway in
soup,
the grass,
you know, trying to fly, and you have all this. This is, again,
Caution for
phenomenal.
Coyote, 151 Delta Lima.
phenomenal training tool. Great situational awareness, great just safety in general.
How far into the training do they get to know these features on the Garmin?
I would say realistically, again, because it is so TA, technologically advanced,
Of course.
I would say
455 Juliet Alpha,
flight 2 or 3, they're starting to pick up on, okay, this can do this, this can do that, right?
Right.
I would say by flight 5 or 6, they're comfortable navigating.
Okay.
And I would say realistically halfway through training, you know, if this is something you started with, I would say realistically halfway through like your private training, you're going to be very comfortable, understand how to use this, understand what that looks like, and be able to interpret that, right? Rather than asking your CFI or somebody else like, hey, what does that mean? What does minus 10 mean? Okay, that means he's 1,000 feet below me. That
Right.
kind of thing. For those of us who are, hey, I want to make a career out of this. I want to go airlines, or I want to go corporate, or I want to go, you know, cargo, whatever. You're going to end up at some point in your life in a glass cockpit.
Right.
And so being able to go from this and being able to say, okay, I understand this, I know how this works, boom. You know, that's going to make you a better candidate for hire in the future. I do understand the importance of six-pack. I still teach the six-pack. I still fly the six-pack.
Right.
Each has its purpose, but you know, in terms of future, forward-looking, moving, you know, being in the industry, this is where you're going to end up.
Exactly.
So, light sport two-seater aircraft, the same ones that Carmelo and I are seated in right now. Big features about them, you know, we've got a full glass panel, a G3X system. They are center stick, so if you ever wanted to feel like a fighter pilot, this is the plane for you. You know, for those of you coming from maybe a yoke or a wheel type steering, this is going to be a very, very easy transition. It's the same movements, just with one hand instead of two. But yeah, other than that, it is a very fun airplane. Not necessarily the fastest airplane, but still a blast to fly and a great trainer aircraft.
Well, when you're in a training environment, you want something that's it's easy to fly and it gives you a lot of information to work with. And as we were talking earlier, as you go through your first 4, 5, 6 lessons in flying, you're getting to know this Garmin system so that you can carry that forward, not only through private but also instrument and commercial as well.
Yeah, right. Into those stages. So through that, you know, it's okay. I've got the ground knowledge that I learned in private, and then I can take that, right? So then, let's say you're an instrument student who is
just to
not
the northwest of Waterloo at 2000.
Started on this G3X system, and now I've got to teach you from a six-pack into this. Well, now, you know, how do I get you to the point where, okay, you understand this? You know, I'm not having to teach you how to use it, right? So that's the benefit of a lot of the private students who are starting in this or transitioning into this, and then going into that instrument stage is, I don't have to spend any time in the instrument stage teaching you this, right? You already understand this, so now we can get right into the flying portions of things. So being able to streamline your process and again save you time and money, that's what it's all about.
So a little bit about you real quick. Where are you from, and how did you get into aviation?
I am from southern Missouri, Springfield, Missouri.
Awesome.
So not Illinois. I grew up near an airport. I was in the approach path of Springfield National, I guess now it's called. So Springfield National, KSGF, for those of you who wonder. So I was in the approach path of that, and you would spend all day, every day of your childhood and stuff, you know, playing outside, watching planes go over.
Nice.
So very awesome time. Never really considered this as a career. As one of those things, I didn't have anybody in it, you know. I've got a couple cousins who are crop dusters, but they're crazy, and I'll never get an airplane with them. So, yeah, I went into medicine, and was a paramedic for a little bit, and met my wife actually in the hospital setting. So she and I got married there in Springfield. She got a job offer from a hospital here in St. Louis, and she said, would you ever consider moving? And I was like, yeah, absolutely, we'll consider moving. So we moved up here right as the pandemic was kind of happening. So we were in the hot and heavy of it, and honestly, it was just it was a burnout situation in medicine for me. The job was not getting better. It wasn't getting easier. The pay was not improving. I went to a wedding of a college friend. I met my college roommate there. Again, haven't seen him in a long time. And he's a great guy, awesome chef. You know, makes a great risotto if you ever want to know.
I'm all in with that.
Yeah. So he and I were chatting, and he's like, dude, I think I'm gonna get my private license. And I said, what are you talking? I said, dude, you're a cook. Like, go. What? And again, we just talked about it. He's like, look, I'm just trying to do something fun right now. He's like, I don't, you know, it's just one of those things where I just need it. And I said, you know what, you're right. Good for you, man.
Good.
Took that home, talked about it with my wife for a couple weeks, and then started flight training.
Wow.
So yeah, I would work nights and then flight train during the day, and that was the cycle. Worked my way through it, you know.
Where'd you get your training?
I did all of my training there at ATP at KSAS, yeah, down there at Spirit.
Nice.
So I did the 0 to Hero program, you know, nothing all the way to CFII, which is here I am now, and
right.
It's a journey. Sure. It's absolutely a journey, and you got to really want it, and there's times when you get burnt out, but you got to remind yourself while you're flying, and that's why you do it. Make a quick traffic call right here. Air Park traffic 468 Juliet Alpha is over Valmar Lake 3,500. Maneuvering parks. Very good.
Park traffic 455 Juliet Alpha, Valmar Lake 2,500, heading back to the airport. Parks.
I see you, buddy. Have fun over there.
You too.
All right. The south practice area down here is super nice. You know, for as a CFI, as a trainer, training airport, you know, there's a ton of fields out here, as you can see, right? As we just kind of dip this wing. Super nice. Like if I need to land, I can land. You know, probably mess up somebody's corn crop, but at least I'll be alive. Then, you know, you've got the river right there. So if any of my students ever get lost, I say, if you can't find the airport, I'm taking your license. Yeah. Because you literally have to follow the river north. Right. It's a lot of options. Yeah, a ton of options, right? We've got train tracks out here that go there. We've got the river. I mean, honestly, if you can't see downtown, then we got another problem. Right. So, yeah, it's a great area to train in. We do have a bunch of grass strips out here. I know there's a Sackman Airfields out here, which if nobody's been out there, guys, go check it out. It's a well-maintained grass strip. They always welcome everybody.
So you're CFI, double I.
Yep, double I.
And what do you see in a great or good to great CFI? What does the CFI have to do to be successful in your job, to yourself, and for your students? Have you ever thought about that?
Yeah, I think for a great, good, awesome CFI, however you want to put that, I think it's hard because you're never not a CFI. You're never not teaching, you're never not helping. For like example, you know, I have a couple students who will just text me, you know, at 9 o'clock, 9:30 at night. Right. I'll read the message, sure. Is it important? You know, and if it is, I can always, you know, respond right then and say, hey, here he is, you know, here's my answer. I have students, previous students who will reach out and say, hey, I have this METAR at my school, what does this mean? Or can you help me understand this? And it's like, hey, like, remember we talked about that. So I think communication, I think, is a big one.
Is there a time where you say, we really need to reconsider this?
If you've flown for a long time, right, X amount of hours, and I think each training regiment's different. If you've flown X amount of hours and you haven't soloed yet, for a lot of CFIs, that's a red flag. Right. You know, here at St. Louis Flight Training, I think what a lot of us do is we say, hey, I'm going to fly with you. I'm going to be your main instructor, right? Yep. Now I'm going to turn around and, you know, maybe a pre-solo flight, I want you to go with, you know, Josh. I want you to go with Kirby. I want you to go with Chris. Right. Ben, whoever, right? And I want you to go fly with them. Then I'm going to get notes from them, and I'm going to say, okay, what was good, what was bad? Are you comfortable thinking that they can solo? Are you not comfortable thinking that they can't solo? Things like that. So, you know, once that happens, great, then we're good to go. You know, my job as a CFI is to make sure that when I sign off on that logbook, and the DPE, when they sign off on that logbook, that they know that you're going to be able to fly, not kill yourself, and not kill other people. All right? And that's a big mental burden to have.
Oh, absolutely.
So I think another one, a big one that I'm running into now as a CFI is being conscious of your students' money and time. Right. Right. Today, especially today's time and age, time is money, and money is money. So just being conscious of my students' money and time, and saying, look, of course I want the flight time. Don't get me wrong, I'll take the flight time, but realistically, to get you where you need to be, I want you to go do this. If you thought private was hard, instrument's going to be 10 times worse. Because multiple factors, right? First factor, you're going to have to learn a brand new language. Right? You're going to have to learn a brand new language. How you talk on the radio and who you talk to on the radio, very, very, very different than the private stage, right? It's not you going out here to a grass strip and oh, it's an untowered field, just making untowered calls. You'll do that still, but you're now going to have to talk to approach, and you're going to have to follow their instructions and things like that. Right. I think the other hard time too is, right, private students, this plane is a great example. Private students want to look right here, right at this screen and fly this way.
And then I have to say, no, look outside, fly outside the aircraft, right? Fly with your eyes, don't fly here. And then they get to that instrument stage, and all they want to do is look outside. Because they're like, I'm missing so much stuff, and it's like, no, I need you to look right here, right? Yep. And so that's another big one, right? Is you'll put, you know, a lot of time in the aircraft, but you'll have no idea where you're flying because you can't see, right? You have foggles on, you have a hood on,
right?
Anything like that, and it's tough. But, you know, at the back end, it's very, very rewarding. The rules change as well, right? Once you're instrument rated, all your rules are different. Right. You were held to a higher standard, right? And it's like going from 8th grade, right? 8th grade, you were the top dog in middle school. You were really cool. Yep. And now you're a freshman in high school. So you were at the very bottom again, exactly. And you're having to learn all new stuff. And that's private to instrument summed up right there.
Right. What are some first steps for new students? Just walking in the door. What do you tell them?
Walking in the door.
I want to fly, but I don't really know how this works.
I'll always recommend a discovery flight.
Yep.
With me, with somebody else, with another school, I don't care. Right. I don't care, right? Whoever that needs to be with, wherever that needs to be, go do a discovery flight. Because you may get in the air and you may decide, oh, I am actually afraid of heights. I hate this, right?
Yep.
Cool. Well, if that's the thing, flying's not for you, right? Or maybe it's a, hey, I got airsick one time, but, you know, that was because the turbulence was really bad. I hit my head a couple times. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do, and this is without fail, I'm going to say go get your medical.
Yes.
Because if you cannot get a medical, there's no point for you to do flight training, right? I, as the CFI, I'm not going to sit here and waste $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 of your money,
right, without
you getting a medical. And, you know, if you, like, let's say we start flight training. You get 3 lessons in. You know, you're $800 deep, and you're like, oh, I can't get a medical because XYZ, right? Well, you just wasted $800.
Right.
Sure, you got the experience. It was really fun, but that's an expensive lesson to learn, you know? So I always say, hey, go get a medical, you know. Any CFI can recommend you an AME, right, an Aero Medical Examiner.
Right.
Anybody can, you know, say, hey, here's what you're going to have to deal with, blah, 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 right? Anybody can talk you through that, but get the medical. And then I tell them, I said, I'm not going to do anything with you until you get the medical. Because, again, that's me being smart and conscious with your money, right? I think that's a big thing, as we talked about earlier, and just saying, okay, get that, and then we can move forward. So discovery flight, see if you even like it, right? If you just, oh man, I see planes all the time. That doesn't mean anything, right?
Right.
And I see a FedEx truck, doesn't mean I want to work for FedEx. Unless, you know, their aviation department's hiring, then let me know. But,
right,
you know, you got to try it to find out if you really like it. And the same thing as well, get the medical. That's going to be a big part, because I think, especially today's day and age, you know, we're seeing a lot of people have medical disqualification factors.
Right, pretty far into it. It's like, well, that's not a good idea.
Exactly, not a great idea. We don't want that, and so how do we mitigate that risk, right? And for me as a CFI, that's, all right, let's get you, you know, where you need to be before we can actually start all of that. But it is kind of cool to see, you know, sitting here right at that 1,800, 1,500 feet, you know, South County, coming up on South City, north transition. So you're essentially, it's you talking to downtown tower,
right,
asking for that transition, right? Because again, it's you moving through their airspace. Approach doesn't care as long as you're outside the Bravo, which you are at this height, at this altitude. So it says asking downtown tower for the transition, not for the arch tour.
Right.
So
this is essentially the same thing.
It's essentially the same thing. I think, however, if we as St. Louis wanted an actual tour, it would have an entry and an exit point, and the FSDO can set that up, but we just got to ask for it. It's just, again, that's just how it goes. And we're very blessed here to be, honestly, have this Bravo, have all these Deltas around us. Great training environment, great aviation community.
And they're all good to work with. They know,
absolutely.
What's happening. They'll make it work for you.
There is no airport that I would not fly to in the St. Louis area.
Maintain VFR at your present altitude, or just advise prior to any altitude change. That one aircraft south of you at 1,600. I'm going to have 2 C-130s following the river up towards the arch.
Ooh. Oh, Lord.
A16 will maintain present altitude, and we need to circle one more time.
916, that's approved.
We got that traffic on this side.
Oh, he's low.
Oh, yeah, he's very low. He's...
All right, Juliet Alpha, that traffic ahead and to your left. doing one more orbit, then they're heading northbound. Just continue at your heading and altitude. You said you're going to do that all the way to Horseshoe Lake.
Yes, sir. Traffic in sight. We'll stay at 1700. Give him that 500-foot spacing. I'll let you know this heading all the way to Horseshoe Lake and then inbound. Great view, isn't it?
It's spectacular.
Yeah. Give you this little wing dip right here for you. You ready?
Yep. Well, they cut up pretty quick, didn't they?
Yeah. I mean, they're doing 200 knots. We're doing 90.
Yep. Wow.
Right, 16, crossway turbulence for the 2C-130, subject to at 500 feet above you.
Hey, 16, crossway turbulence.
Very cool.
Yeah. And Downtown Tower, 468 Juliet Alpha is turning southbound along the river.
There is 8 Juliet Alpha, enter left base runway 12 right.
So essentially we get this thing down to the ground effect. We bleed off airspeed. Whee!
Alright, Juliet Alpha, turn left, Bravo 4, cutting ground point 8.
Left Bravo 4, ground point 8. 468 Juliet Alpha, see ya. Alright, let's do this shutdown terminate checklist. Cool. All the lights are off, engine's coming idle, fuel pump's coming off. There it is. Lane A, lane B. Grab my engine instruments and we are done.